Ladies, let me tell you something straight from the heart. You have no idea how much power you carry until the day you decide to walk away. See, men don't always hear your words, they don't always see your tears, and they don't always feel the weight of your silence when you're right there beside them. But the moment you remove yourself, the moment your chair at the table is empty, your voice is no longer in his ear. Your energy is no longer in his space. That's when he feels you the most. That's when the lesson begins. This ain't just about love. This is about power, self, worth, and knowing who you are. Too many women get stuck believing that if they just love harder, give more, stay longer, he'll finally wake up. But let me break it down for you. Sometimes the wake-up call doesn't come while you're standing there. Sometimes the wake-up call is your absence, your silence, your decision to say enough. He misses you more after you walk away because walking away flips the script. It forces him to look at his life without the very thing he took for granted you. And while he's sitting there replaying every moment, you're stepping into something greater, your healing, your growth, your freedom. That's when he realizes the truth, and that truth is this. He didn't lose a woman, and he lost the woman. So today, I'm going to walk you through why your silence is louder than words, why your absence creates value, why your healing is your greatest power play, why your detachment confuses him, why your growth makes him question himself, and why walking away is the ultimate lesson. By the end of this, you'll know exactly why he misses you and why that's the least of your concern. Silence is louder than words, ladies. Let me tell you something real right now. There comes a point in every woman's life where her words don't work anymore. You've pleaded, you've begged, you've explained until your throat was dry, you've written long messages, you've argued late into the night, you've repeated the same truth over and over, hoping that one day he would just get it. But the truth is, some men don't hear words. They tune you out. They get numb to your voice. They take for granted that no matter how upset you are, you're still there. But the day you fall silent, the day you stop chasing, stop explaining, stop filling the room with your energy, that's the day he hears you the loudest. Silence is louder than words because silence is final. Silence is unsettling. Silence is unforgettable. Think about it. When music plays, it fills the room. It's comfortable. It's expected. You tap your foot to it. You move with it. But when the music stops suddenly, everybody freezes. People look around. They feel the absence stronger than they ever felt the sound. That's you. You've been his music, his background rhythm, his comfort. And the second you hit pause, that quiet strikes him harder than every argument you ever had. That's why silence is power. See, ladies, men are wired in a way where they think they've got time. They think you'll always be there because you always have been. He gets used to the late night texts, the calls, the check-ins. He gets used to the way you explain your feelings and fight for the relationship. He may even roll his eyes when you cry because deep down he assumes you'll keep trying. But silence shocks the system. Silence makes him stop and say, wait, where did she go? Why isn't she fighting? Why isn't she talking? That silence becomes the loudest alarm clock he'll ever hear. I remember coaching a woman who had been with her man for 7 years. She told me, Steve, I cried, I begged. I even got on my knees one night telling him what I needed from him, and he just shrugged it off. But when I finally shut down, when I stopped talking and stopped trying, he blew up my phone like never before. He couldn't handle the silence. That right there is proof. Silence has a weight to it that words never carry. Ladies, don't underestimate the power of what you don't say. See, when you keep explaining, you give him reassurance that you still care. When you argue, you tell him he still matters enough to fight with. But when you go quiet, he doesn't get that comfort. He's left with his own thoughts. He's left wondering if you've moved on, if someone else has your attention, if he lost his chance for good. Silence forces him to reflect in a way your words never could. Think of silence like a mirror. When you're talking, the mirror is covered in fog. He doesn't see himself clearly. But when you go quiet, the fog lifts and suddenly he's staring at himself. He sees his mistakes. He hears his own neglect echoing in the quiet. He feels the emptiness that your absence creates, and that mirror doesn't lie. That mirror doesn't soften the blow. That mirror makes him miss you in ways he never thought possible. But let me make this clear, ladies. Silence is not about games. Silence is not about manipulation. Silence is about dignity. It's about saying, I've said all I need to say. My peace is more important than my pain. It's about reclaiming your voice by refusing to waste it where it's not value. Silence is not weakness. It's discipline, and it's discipline that drives men crazy because they can't figure out how to break it. There is a reason silence is used as punishment in prisons and schools. It's called isolation. It's one of the hardest things for a human to bear. We crave sound response attention, and when a man who has grown addicted to your energy suddenly finds himself cut off from it, he goes through withdrawal. He will replay your conversations in his mind. He will stalk your social media. He will reach out with a "Hey, just checking in," or "I was thinking about you." That's not love. It's the shock of losing the sound he thought would never stop playing. And here's the beautiful part. Silence doesn't just make him hear you louder. It makes you hear yourself in the quiet. You finally realize how tired you are of repeating yourself. You hear your own thoughts again, your own needs, your own dreams. You reconnect with the voice that got drowned out in all the noise of trying to be heard by someone who wasn't listening. Silence becomes your reset button. It becomes your strength. So when I tell you that silence is louder than words, understand this. It is the turning point. It is the moment you shift the power. It is the sound that makes him miss you. The sound that makes him regret. The sound that forces him to recognize your value. And it is also the sound that heals you, that brings you peace, that reminds you of the truth you already knew deep inside. You are worth listening to. You are worth loving. You are worth everything you gave. And sometimes the loudest thing you can ever say is nothing at all. Absence creates value. Ladies, listen to me carefully. What's always in front of you can become invisible. The man who sees you every day, who knows you'll answer his call, who knows you'll keep forgiving, stops recognizing the treasure he's holding. Familiarity makes people forget. But the second you remove yourself, the second you step back, the second your presence turns into absence, that's when he starts to feel the weight of your value. Because absence doesn't just create distance, absence creates demand. Think about it like this. If gold was lying around on every street corner, nobody would treasure it. It would lose its worth. It would lose its meaning because it's too accessible. But the fact that gold is rare, the fact that you have to dig deep, the fact that not everybody can have it, that's what makes it valuable, ladies. You are that gold. The problem is when you give yourself too freely, when you are always there, no matter how he treats you, you strip away the rarity that makes you priceless. Men only learn the value of your presence when it turns into absence. Let me give you an example. A woman once told me she was dating a man who never took her seriously. He loved having her around, but he didn't commit. He didn't step up, and he thought she would never leave. She tried everything. Talks, ultimatums, even tears. Nothing worked. One day, she decided to stop showing up. She stopped answering. She focused on herself. Do you know what happened? Within a month, that same man who ignored her was suddenly begging for her time. Why? Because absence made him realize her presence was never guaranteed. Absence is like air. When it's there, you take it for granted, but hold your breath for 10 seconds and watch how desperate you get for oxygen. That's exactly what happens when you walk away. You are the air he breathed, and the moment you cut off that supply, he's gasping, he's choking, he's panicking, realizing what he lost. Here's what men rarely admit. They need contrast to recognize value. When you're around all the time, he sees you as normal, as routine, as expected. But the day you walk away, the contrast slaps him in the face. Suddenly, life feels emptier. His meals don't taste the same. The bed feels colder. His phone doesn't light up like it used to. And now he's sitting there replaying every memory, realizing he's starving for the very thing he thought he could do without. Ladies, you have to understand your absence is not about punishing him. It's about elevating you. It's about protecting your energy and making sure you're not giving it to someone who doesn't honor it. But make no mistake, your absence has an effect. It changes the dynamic. It forces him to face the truth that your presence was a gift, not a guarantee. Think of it like a favorite song. When it's played on repeat all day, every day people get tired of it. They stop hearing the magic in it. But let that song disappear from the radio for a while, and when it comes back on, everybody sings along, everybody remembers how much they loved it. That's you. Your presence is the song. Your absence is the silence that makes him crave it again. I need you to get this. A man will not value what he thinks he can't lose as long as you're always available. He feels no urgency to step up. He thinks she'll always be there. I can call when I want. I can come and go as I please. But when you remove yourself, when you prove to him that you are not a permanent fixture, that you will not tolerate being taken for granted, you ignite something powerful, respect. And once a man respects your absence, he starts to respect your presence. The beauty of absence is this. It teaches both of you. It teaches him that your love is rare. Your attention is precious. Your presence is a privilege. And it teaches you that you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. Your worth is proven by the simple fact that when you're gone, nothing feels the same. Lady's absence creates value because it reminds him that you are not replaceable. Anybody can fill space, but not everybody can fill a soul. And when you step back, when you walk away, when you make him live without the very energy he once dismissed, that's when he learns the lesson. That's when he realizes that losing you is not like losing anybody else. That's when he understands that your absence is louder than any speech you could give, stronger than any argument you could make, and more powerful than any love he thought he could find elsewhere. So remember this. You don't create value by staying where you're not seeing. You create value by walking away and letting the silence of your absence do the talking. Because sometimes, ladies, the most powerful thing you can give a man is the chance to miss you. Healing is your power play. Ladies, let me break this down for you. Healing is not about proving you're stronger than him. It's about remembering you're stronger for yourself. A lot of women think healing means moving on fast, showing him you don't care, or jumping into something new to cover the pain. But real healing is a power move. It's the quiet, steady reclaiming of your spirit. It's the rebuilding of your self-worth brick by brick until you stand taller than you ever did before. And let me tell you something. Nothing shakes a man more than seeing a woman who is healed without him. See, when a man walks away or when he hurts you, he expects you to collapse. He expects you to cry, to call, to beg, to lose yourself. He thinks your world revolved around him so much that without him you'll crumble, and some of you did break for a while because love cuts deep and betrayal is heavy. But when you take that pain and turn it into fuel, when you pick yourself up and start focusing on you, when you heal in silence and rise in strength, that's the play that knocks the breath out of him. Healing is not weakness. Healing is discipline. Healing is saying, I refuse to let this pain own me any longer. Healing is when you look in the mirror and decide to love the woman looking back, even if he didn't. Healing is when you stop scrolling his page, stop stalking his life, stop rehearsing the what-ifs and start writing a brand new chapter where you are the main character. Let me paint a picture for you. A woman I once spoke with had been abandoned by her fiancé weeks Before the wedding, she was shattered. For months she couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think of anything but him. But slowly she started making small changes. She signed up for a fitness class. She reconnected with her girlfriends. She got serious about her career goals. And do you know what happened? A year later, she didn't just heal, she glowed. She walked in rooms with confidence. She carried herself with grace. She rebuilt her life on her own terms. And guess what? That man came crawling back saying, "I made a mistake." But by then, her healing was so powerful she didn't even want him anymore. That's the true victory. Healing shifts the power back to you. Because pain has a way of chaining you down, making you think you're stuck, making you feel like you lost something essential. But when you choose healing, you're telling the world and yourself that you are not defined by what broke you. You are defined by how you rise after the break. And here's the part that rattles men to their core when you heal. You don't need him anymore. That's when he feels it. That's when he realizes he lost something priceless. That's when he starts missing you, not because you're still wounded, but because you're stronger. Let's be real here. Men are drawn to women who radiate strength, who glow with self-love, who carry themselves like they know they're valuable. And when you heal, you radiate that energy. You walk differently. You talk differently. You set boundaries differently. You no longer accept crumbs because you know you deserve the whole cake. That transformation makes them look back and say, "Damn, she doesn't need me anymore. She's unstoppable." And let me tell you, there is no greater regret for a man than realizing he let go of a woman who leveled up without him. But understand this, ladies, healing is not for him. Healing is not a performance to make him jealous. Healing is not revenge. Healing is freedom. Healing is the gift you give yourself when you've carried pain long enough. It's waking up one morning and realizing you're no longer crying over someone who didn't value you. It's smiling without forcing it. It's laughing again with your whole chest. It's standing in your own skin and feeling comfortable there. And here's the truth. Healing takes time. It's not overnight. Some days you'll fall back. Some nights you'll cry again. Some moments will feel like the wound reopened. But every step forward, no matter how small, is power. Every time you choose not to text him, every time you redirect your thoughts, every time you focus on your growth instead of your grief, you are reclaiming your crown. That's healing. So when I say healing is your power play, I mean it's the most unstoppable move you can make. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's steady, it's strong, it's undeniable. It turns your pain into wisdom, your heartbreak into strength, your silence into peace. And while he's out there expecting you to stay broken, you're out here rising into a version of yourself that even he can't forget. Because when a healed woman walks into a room, the world notices. And the man who lost her, he never stops remembering the day her absence became permanent and her glow became untouchable. That's the hidden power of healing. It doesn't just change you, it changes everything. Detachment confuses him. Ladies, let me tell you something about men. They live off energy. They live off attention. They live off knowing you're still plugged into them, still reacting, still caring. As long as you're texting back, checking in, explaining yourself, arguing with him, he feels secure. He knows he's still in control of your emotions. But the moment you detach, the moment you stop reacting, stop chasing, stop playing into his rhythm, that's when he loses his footing. Detachment confuses him because he doesn't know where he stands anymore. See, men expect patterns. They expect you to blow up his phone when he goes quiet. They expect you to question him when he's acting shady. They expect you to cry, to plead, to fight for the relationship. That's the cycle he gets comfortable in But detachment, that's when you cut the power to the entire system. Suddenly the game stops. Suddenly the attention dries up. Suddenly the drama vanishes. And let me tell you, when the energy he's used to feeding off disappears, it leaves him stumbling around like a man in the dark. Detachment is not about ignoring him. It's about removing the emotional supply. It's the difference between blocking someone and just not caring to respond. It's the quietness that says, I'm not playing anymore. And here's the thing, men don't know how to handle a woman who isn't emotionally available to them anymore. They thrive on reactions, good or bad. When you're mad, they still feel your energy. When you're crying, they still know they matter. But when you detach, when there's no fire, no tears, no questions, he starts questioning himself. He thinks, wait, has she moved on? Did she stop caring? Is there someone else? That confusion eats at him. Let me give you an example. A woman I once counseled told me her man would disappear for days and come back like nothing happened. She used to argue, send long texts, demand answers. He would brush it off knowing she'd still be there. Then one day she stopped. She didn't argue. She didn't explain. She just went quiet. She focused on her own life. He came back expecting the old drama, expecting her to explode. But instead he was met with calm indifference. That's when he panicked. He said, "Why aren't you mad? Why aren't you saying anything?" See, her detachment rattled him more than her anger ever did. Detachment is like taking the keys away from a man who thought he owned the house. He gets to the door, tries to walk in like always, and suddenly realizes he can't get access anymore. That confusion is powerful because when you stop making him the center of your world, he has to face himself. He has to sit in the silence and wonder why the dynamic changed, and men hate that. They hate not knowing. They hate losing control of the narrative. Here's what you need to understand, ladies. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care about yourself. It means you finally do. Detachment means you've stopped pouring your energy into a bottomless cup. It means you've realized your peace matters more than proving your point. It means you've chosen yourself over constant chaos. And when you do that, you shift the power completely. He's left scrambling while you're finally centered. Men are used to cause and effect. They push a button, you react. They pull away, you chase. They say something slick, you get emotional. But when you detach, those buttons stop working, and nothing confuses a man more than when his old tricks don't work anymore. That's when he starts trying harder, testing new ways to get a response. He'll poke, he'll prod, he'll throw out bait just to see if you'll bite. And when you don't, that's when he really starts to miss you. Because, ladies, detachment isn't just silence. It's strength. It's the quiet refusal to be controlled by someone else's inconsistency. It's the calm declaration that says, I've taken my power back. And when you move from desperation to detachment, you create an energy shift so strong, he can't ignore it. Detachment makes him confused, yes, but it also makes him reflective. He'll start wondering what changed. What did I do wrong? Is she gone for good? That uncertainty will keep him up at night. And whether or not he ever admits it, your detachment is the very thing that makes him realize your worth. Because while your words may have bounced off him, your lack of response pierces straight through. Ladies, let me make this plain. Attachment keeps you trapped. Detachment sets you free. And the beauty of it is once you detach, once you stop giving him the reactions he thrives on, you start to see him clearly for who he is. And more importantly, you start to see yourself clearly for who you are. a woman who doesn't have to beg, prove, or plead to be valued. Detachment confuses him because he never thought you'd have the strength to walk away emotionally before you walked away physically. He thought he owned that part of you forever. But when you detach, you remind him and yourself that your emotions belong to you, and no man on this earth has the right to play with them anymore. Growth makes him question himself. Ladies, let me tell you something raw and unfiltered. Nothing shakes a man to his core like watching the woman he once took for granted start to grow without him. Growth is the most silent yet the most dangerous weapon you have. When you level up, when you start shining brighter than you ever did before, it does something to him. It rattles his ego, it messes with his pride, and it makes him ask questions he doesn't have answers to. Growth is your revenge, but it's also your healing, your rebirth, your declaration to the world that you refuse to stay broken. See, when you were in that relationship, you may have been pouring yourself into him. You invested your time, your emotions, your energy. You may have held yourself back, dimmed your own light just to make him feel like he was the sun in your life. And when you walked away, maybe he thought you'd stay stuck. Maybe he thought you'd sit around crying, waiting on a text, scrolling his social media just to see if he noticed you were gone. But instead, you chose to grow. You chose to invest in yourself, your dreams, your peace, your healing. And that, ladies, is when the game flips. Growth is power because it creates contrast. Let me explain. When he looks back at you, he expects to see the same woman he left. The same woman who cried over his silence, who begged for explanations, who tried to prove her worth in conversations that went nowhere. But when he sees that you're no longer that woman, when he sees you smiling again, glowing again, making moves again, he can't help but question himself. He wonders, was I the problem? Did I underestimate her? Did I lose something I'll never find again? This questioning doesn't come because you told him off. It doesn't come because you cursed him out or dragged his name. No, it comes because you did the one thing he never expected. You rose higher without him. You see, men are wired with pride. They like to believe they are the source of your happiness, the anchor that holds you steady. So when you prove that your joy, your beauty, your strength, your peace can exist without him, it destabilizes everything he thought he knew. That's when his silence gets loud in his own head. That's when he replays every moment and starts to realize just how much he underestimated you. Ladies, I want you to picture this. You walk away and for a while he's comfortable. He thinks she'll be back. She needs me. But then one day he scrolls through his feed and there you are. Not posting sad quotes, not begging, but glowing. Surrounded by people, laughing at dinner with friends, traveling, launching that business, working on that body, healing your soul. He expected your world to collapse when he left, but instead you built a bigger one without him. That is the picture that eats at him. Now, here's the twist. Your growth isn't about him at all. It's about you. You didn't start healing, building, and thriving to make him miss you. You did it because you finally realized you deserve more than pain. You finally understood that love doesn't mean losing yourself. You finally got tired of being defined by what someone else thought of you. That kind of growth is magnetic. It attracts opportunities, blessings, peace, and yes, even the attention of the man who thought you'd crumble without him. But don't get it twisted. Growth isn't petty. Growth isn't about revenge. Growth is about restoration. It's about reminding yourself that you are the prize. When you start walking in your power, you start to shine in ways you didn't even know you could. And that shine, It forces him to face his own shortcomings. It forces him to see that while you were moving forward, he stayed the same. While you were learning, building, healing, he was stuck in his old ways, and men don't like that mirror being held up to them. Growth forces reflection, and reflection forces regret. That's why he misses you more when you grow. Not just because he misses your presence, but because your growth highlights everything he lost. He doesn't just see the woman he used to have. He sees the woman you become, the woman he doesn't have access to anymore. That is a powerful shift. And when you fully embrace it, you'll realize that the real question isn't whether he misses you. It's whether you even care that he does. Growth makes him question himself, but more importantly, growth makes you stop questioning yourself. It silences those doubts you once had about your worth. It kills the narrative that you weren't enough. It proves to you and the world that you are capable of thriving without anyone holding you back. That, ladies, is the true power play. That is how you reclaim not just your life, but your identity. Growth is the answer to every tear, every silence, every moment you thought you'd never recover from. And it's the very thing that will make him look back and realize you were the one all along. Walking away is the ultimate lesson. Ladies, listen to me, and listen good. Walking away is not weakness. Walking away is not giving up. Walking away is the ultimate lesson for him, for you, and for the relationship that could never carry the weight of your worth. Walking away is the moment you teach him what no conversation, no argument, no text, no tear ever could. It's the moment you prove with your actions that you refuse to negotiate your value. See, a man can ignore your words. He can tune out your pleas. He can dismiss your tears, but he cannot ignore your absence. He cannot brush off the silence of a woman who once gave him her all. When you walk away, you strip him in the one thing he depended on without even realizing it's your presence. Your presence was his comfort, his safety net, his assurance that no matter how reckless he acted, you'd still be there. And when you remove that, you're not just leaving, you're teaching. You're teaching him that love is not unconditional when it comes to disrespect. You're teaching him that access to you is a privilege, not a birthright. You're teaching him that when he fails to cherish, he loses. And let me tell you, that is a lesson he will carry far longer than any argument you could ever have had. Walking away is also the ultimate lesson for you. Because let's be real, walking away is hard, it's painful. It feels like tearing a piece of yourself off. For so long, you may have tied your identity to him, his approval, his attention, his affection. You may have convinced yourself that staying, even in pain, was better than leaving. But when you finally gather the strength to walk, you teach yourself the most important truth of all. You are stronger than your fears. You are bigger than your pain. You can survive without him, and not only survive, you can thrive. Think about it like this. Imagine a bird sitting on a branch. That bird doesn't trust the branch to hold it. It trusts its wings. That's how walking away works. You're not trusting the relationship anymore. You're trusting yourself. You're saying, even if this branch breaks, I can still fly. That is liberation. That is power. Now, here's the part that makes walking away hit him like a thunderbolt. He may have thought he had time. Men often think they have time. They think she'll get over it. She'll forgive me again. She'll always be there. But when you finally walk, that illusion is shattered. He realizes too late that time ran out. He realizes that you don't come with infinite chances. And that realization burns deeper than any words you could have ever spoken. Ladies, walking away creates clarity. It creates a silence that echoes in his mind. He replays your last moments together. He rethinks the things he brushed off. He wonders why he didn't listen harder, love deeper, try better, and the beauty of it. Those questions will haunt him long after you've already moved on. That's the ultimate lesson. You don't teach him with threats, ultimatums, or begging. You teach him by showing him what life feels like without you in it. But walking away isn't just about what he learns. It's about what you gain, because walking away is an act of self-love. It's you telling yourself, I will not settle for crumbs when I deserve the whole feast. It's you rewriting your own story instead of letting someone else hold the pen. It's you setting a standard so high that the next time someone steps into your life, they'll know exactly what it takes to keep you. And let me make this clear. When you walk away, you don't have to slam the door. You don't have to throw a scene. You don't have to prove your point with theatrics. The quiet strength of walking out with your head held high is louder than any scream. That silence, that dignity, that confidence, that's what teaches him the ultimate lesson. Walking away says, I loved you, but I love me more. Walking away says, I gave you a chance, but I refuse to give you my peace. Walking away says, you may miss me, you may regret me, but you will never break me. And when a woman embodies that kind of strength, she becomes unforgettable. She becomes the standard he will measure every other woman against. Ladies, hear me on this. Walking away is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of the chapter where you finally stand in your power. It's the chapter where you stop begging for love and start commanding respect. It's the chapter where you rise from what broke you and teach the world. Teach him. Teach yourself that you cannot be caged, controlled, or diminished. Walking away is the ultimate lesson, and when you embrace it, you'll find that the person who learned the most wasn't him. It was you. The crown was yours all along. Ladies, let me leave you with this. Every tear you cried, every night you laid awake wondering if you were enough. Every time you bit your tongue just to keep the peace, none of that was wasted because all of it brought you to this moment. The moment you finally see yourself, the moment you finally realize the crown was yours all along. You don't beg a man to love you right. You don't chase after silence. You don't shrink yourself just to fit in a space too small for your spirit. You rise, you grow, you detach, you heal, and when necessary, you walk away. That's the real lesson. That's the moment you reclaim your power, and let me tell you something. When you do that, he will miss you. Oh, he will miss the warmth you gave, the love you poured, the peace you carried into the room. But more importantly, you won't miss him the same way. Because you'll finally be too busy living, too busy shining, too busy walking in the fullness of who you are. Stop thinking your worth is tied to who stayed or who left. Your worth is tied to one thing only, you.